Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. To the flag of the United States. To the republic for which it stands, one nation. All right.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we do thank you for this day you provided for us, your Lord. We ask you to guide and direct us and be with us as we conduct the county business today, Lord, and keep us all safe. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn Cool. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Happy Wednesday, last day of April already. Where did it go? The first thing we'll start with is county personnel or public comment. Is there any? Okay, right on. Come on up. If you'd like, drag some pictures with you too. Sorry about that.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hi there.
I wanted to take this opportunity to let you meet my new hire, this is Neil Gears.
What's your name? Neil. Lucas Heinrich. Cool.
He's gonna be our new personal property advisor for the foreseeable future, so. We just wanted to bring him in and let you meet him and.
So where do you come from, Neil?
Kansas City originally.
Really?
Yeah, we're moving up to Lawrence, my wife and I.
Okay. Nice. When did you start?
Started last Monday,
Last Monday. All right.
been here all of a week and a half.
We're glad to- Do you have any questions for us or anything?
I can think of.
All right, put you on the spot. Yeah, there you go. All right.
All right,
Cool. That's it.
yep, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank
very
you,
much.
guys.
Thanks for coming
Appreciate your
down.
time. I can leave that here, because I'll probably need that. Fair enough. Thanks.
Okay. Any other public comment or personnel comment? I know a lot of people are listening to the meeting, a lot of staff and elected personnel. We've had a lot of things happening. We had that training. We had a couple of department head meetings, things that so on and so forth. Boy, if you have any questions or concerns and you want to talk to the commissioners, we are open and we are ready to listen. In fact, we're eager to listen and hear what you have to say. So I just wanted to reiterate that. And we're here for you and we'd love to hear any comments. Anything else? Public or personnel? Okay, in the interest of time and to keep people's schedule happy, we're gonna move a few things around on the agenda. Mr. Hill has a busy day in court. He needs to be gone here, in the next 20 minutes or so. So we're gonna move to number 5, which is a property use agreement. And just due to the nature of the description here, maybe thought we ought to I guess discuss this in a little more of a detailed manner. Is that right?
So, just from a legal standpoint, First Amendment grants right for assembly, right for freedom of speech, and so. Usually public forums would include streets and sidewalks and parks. Public properties such as the courthouse, the courthouse square, grass, area in front of that. So there are reasonable time, place restrictions, safety restrictions that can be taken into account. So on this one, I mean, the courthouse mentions courthouse steps and then guest speakers, music and PA systems. So they would have the right to assemble, right to exercise free speech. I think the only thing might be helpful if either John or Robbie could visit with the applicant. When it mentions the steps, I mean, they would not be able, obviously, to impede people's access to the courthouse. As far as the music speakers, it obviously couldn't be so loud that it interrupts functions in the courthouse with the offices and court and things like that. So a lot of times on applications, it's best suited just to have somebody visit with the applicant just to kind of outline some of their rights and then outline what what can and cannot be done And that way it's beneficial to, people who are wanting to exercise or freedom of assembly and freedom of speech. So, as far as the application is concerned, I mean, I don't see any, concerns from a legal standpoint. I just think it would be beneficial for Mr. Titus to visit with, sheriff or under sheriff and just clarify, as far as use of courthouse steps. So it says steps sidewalk area, just kind of clarify that. Just clarify the fact that the speakers, music and PA systems just need to be at an acceptable level so it doesn't disrupt functions inside the courthouse. Other than that, I didn't have any concerns. Doesn't look like they're requesting any use of the inside of the courthouse. It's just the courthouse on the outside part of it. So we've had applications in the past, like back in the day when the Occupy Wall Street was going on. We had a request for use of the courthouse square for that. And the same thing, I think we met with the applicant in advance and just discussed, you know, what can and can't be done as far as exercising the freedom of assembly and freedom of speech. It's actually scheduled for tomorrow.
Sure,
For the
sure.
22, so.
Any question? Comment? So,
Time. 10 to 2 is what they had listed. So your recommendation would be, with the, you need to vote vote on the, request to use, and then, with that, recommend this to John or Robbie, touch base, he left his phone number on here, just kind of touch base on some of those, things, but I think it'll be fine.
so my concern was the courthouse steps and sidewalks, just everything that Kevin just said. In fact, I'll just repeat it for fun. The music and the PA system. When I saw that, I thought, man, that's gonna be, it sounds more like a festival than I'd be comfortable with walking up if I was just gonna do business in the courthouse. Is there any, would it be all right to just put it on the south side? So they have concrete, they have everything they need there, just put it on the south side, and then people coming in for normal day-to-day business, just walk in the door.
I
I
think
know-
any restrictions would just have to be reasonable restrictions, so I think it would probably be better to just outline as far as the steps are concerned, if they're actually wanting to use steps. They could use a certain side of the steps, so it wouldn't impede people's access to the courthouse. I don't know if we limited north, east, west, south, I don't know if that might be over. What would be considered reasonable restrictions if we designated just that one part of the courthouse, if they're wanting to use a certain part because it's more visible or whatever, what have you, I think they would have that right to do so. If the concerns are on the steps, I think if John or Robbie visits with Mr. Titus, if the concerns are on the steps, I think Mr. Titus could outline what part of the steps they'd be comfortable with. I mean, clearly they wouldn't be able to use the entire steps that would impede access, but I think you could designate within the steps, which side, which area, how much, all of that. I think some of that could just be discussed going into,
I think the same thing like with the land.
yeah, just reasonable restrictions that we've never had an issue, even with some fairly notorious groups that have been up in our area without naming any names. I mean, we had visits with them in the past on designating certain areas, and they know their rights usually better than anybody else on things like this. So I don't anticipate any
Okay.
problems at all.
All right. My concern is when groups like this, you say they know their rights, and they have rights, and I'm not trying to impede them, but the people that have to walk through it, I would think they'd have rights too, and I'm just trying to find a balance.
Sure. So even counter protesters, they
Sure.
have freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. So yeah, just a matter of just, it's all about reasonableness.
So it's probably no big deal, and John will talk to, you'll call that number, you'll talk to him, you've been through this before. Okay. All right. Is there any other questions or comments then? We good? Okay, is there a motion?
I make the motion that we approve the courthouse use application here for Stephen Titus for May 1st from 10 to 2 with the exception of having the sheriffs speak with them about what the rules are about the steps, so the steps aren't blocked.
Yeah, steps and then just loud sound there. The big
Steps and loud sound.
I'd second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay, motion carried. Kevin, is there anything else? While you're still here?
Not that I saw on here, I think everything else is pretty,
Okay.
policy related.
Okay. You working up? All right.
Got one question for Kevin before he leaves.
Oh,
Yeah, that's fine, but
can you wait just a second?
On accounts payable, there was a purchase from diversion fund is,
what was that for, what's the name on it? What the?
gun garage,
What's that?
gun garage or something.
Yeah, so that was the sheriff's department, John, I think, Rockwell and, the sheriff were, requested use of that, and it's for entry into buildings, it's a non-lethal method of entering into buildings, that just provides for more officer safety, so that's what that was for, they requested that, and so I thought officer safety, I'm always in favor of trying to promote that, so that's what that purpose was.
Okay, appreciate that.
And Deputy Rob was able to actually get some savings on that. It came back lower. I think they were able to get some savings on that. I think we got a discount or something. So.
Okay, so the sheriff's department worked with you. We got something.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good, nice, good job. Good question, thanks, Bill. Okay. I think if you need to go, then you are free.
Okay,
How's
sounds
that? Okay, thank you very much. All right, we'll. Sorry.
That's okay.
Hmm.
These are the two, we got two of these are the traffic cameras. We're going to put a sticker on it that says Brown County because Nick with Gaties said that would be advisable because they've had people call in that there was phones strapped to poles in bigger cities, so. Here's an example of the reports that it puts out. It tells the size of vehicle, the speed, and the times.
Yep.
And we're going to share that information with the sheriff's department, so if there's a speed problem.
I mean, this is an actual test.
Mhm.
This thing you-
Yes, we went out and stood
Nice,
by Walmart corner
okay,
and pointed it towards the highway.
okay.
So this is for speed of the people going on the highway.
Yes. And Nick said that he would be more than happy to come up and show them how to mount it to the pole. Because you don't want it, if this is your road, you don't want it like this, you want it more like this. Yeah, you don't want it.
Okay. Okay.
Now, with that being said, I received an email from Brady and 270th. They're now thinking late June, early July for a start date. So I wondered if we wanted to put this on 270th to try to get some kind of count before we work on it, so we know what kind of traffic is going on that road.
Let's start. Sure. Which, that's wonderful. That leads me to my question. How are we going to determine where these go? Who's going to set the schedule and?
I think we need to kind of pinpoint the roads that we want.
Okay.
And then we'll work with the foreman, because I have the app on my phone.
Uh-huh.
And I'm thinking the foreman can get it on their phones, and then they can go out, and when they go to move it, they can actually send the report to my email.
Okay.
The report for the time that it's been out there.
So when you say we, do you mean the commissioners here, we need to come up
Yeah,
with a plan for
you.
the road? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, and then,
And the foreman.
sure, All right.
If the commissioners have a area that's been brought to them, we'll form and bring in areas. That's where they fix that. Sheriff needs it at any particular place. He don't have to take our permission where he wants to put it. You know where it's at, so you can keep track of it
And this will tell me too.
with that.
Mhm. It'll show me on the app. It shows me where it is.
Okay, was it simple to pull the information?
Larry,
Okay.
it's touch of a button.
All right. All right.
Jerry won't be able to do it, but
Hey, you announce that publicly, that's all right, that's all right.
Jerry will admit
For
it.
the technology averse, that's okay.
His assistant.
Yeah. Okay, so then we need to come up with some sort of plan for where we want to go. For right now, they'll go to 270.
If that's okay. That was just my idea so that we can kind of know before they start the construction on it. So we can address if the 2 inches is going to be sufficient, the 2 inches of asphalt.
Sure, I think it's great. And then we'll learn about it and see what information we can pull. Are you fine with it going up there? You fine? I'm fine.
Oh,
Sounds good.
perfect.
And will you keep those when they're not in use? Do you keep them in your office then, or who's gonna be in charge of that little $5,000 box?
We'll have to work up. Yes, I'm assuming because they will have to be charged.
Okay.
They have 2 weeks of battery time.
Okay.
It does come with a car charger, so they can actually charge them.
Okay.
When they take them down, they can put them in their vehicles and charge them.
Okay.
Or I can, whoever's moving it. That is another,
Sheriff Merchant had a question when you're ready.
Are they gonna be insured in case somebody decides to take it on the open pot?
and that was my next. These are the straps that come with it. But Nick suggested getting like a chain
Okay.
to go through here with a lock on it
Uh-huh.
to add a little bit more.
Yeah.
So somebody doesn't, I mean, I don't know what they would do with it if they did steal it, because
I'm not worried about stealing too much. It's damage, some kind of people.
yeah,
And I feel like, you know, I mean, insurance is good to play, but if you have, they're kind of pricey.
the two together, that's separately. The two together were 7,600.
Oh, yeah, over 500.
Over 500.
It'll be.
Okay, so it'll be protection for theft and vandalism, things like that. Okay.
So my question was, is, if you had hidden bottom in a box, I mean, you can't cover the front, but if somebody drives along there and knows what those are. You had some way to,
They're supposed to be 6 to 12 feet in the air. So, I mean, it's not going to be an easy thing for somebody to,
guess I was thinking there are decoys out there, so it wasn't when they were there and they were there and.
We get closer to that 8 to 12 foot, that's gonna make those people get out. Just reach over and grab it. Not have to plan.
right,
I think we'll have to work
And-
with.
and it would take some time to get 6 to 12 feet in the air. I mean, it's gonna take some effort. It's not going to be.
It'll be a learning process. on
Right.
ways, and
Right.
whoever puts it up, we'll figure out the install and all the information. I assume if it's installed wrong, we won't get any info. from it,
Right.
So we'll figure out how that works
And that's why Nick said he would gladly come down and help us install it the first time.
so that knowledge is power on that stuff, and what do we do with it? So I think that's a great idea to go up there and on 270th, because we'll see what the before is, and then, once we get it done, we see what the after is. See what traffic patterns change and people's road preferences change because they want to ride on that smooth pavement.
Right. And that is a highly traveled road.
No, I look forward to learning. from that. So, thank you.
And then you got the road widener information. That is just something that I believe it was Jared. who asked me to send it in.
Looking
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah,
I watched one of these sell on Big Iron when this was a topic 2 months ago, and it looked like a decent used one. It brought, I think, $18,000 when you figure all the fees, and so they are out there. But they're rare. A new one, I was told, was in the 50s, and this quote I got here says 34,000. But I
Right.
wondered if it was a 2022, maybe.
22, yes.
Is it old, was it a carryover, or is this just an old quote? Didn't have a date on it.
I think it was fairly recent,
Was it recent? It was just a carryover model, then.
or it's a used one.
Oh, it was used.
It has been
Okay,
used.
okay, that was all, it was all tied together, and I didn't know what.
I think some of the pictures on it show that
The reason it confused me, because on the top it says one new road widener attachment, but then it had all these pictures of a used one, I didn't know.
And they said it would be helpful when they're putting the rock on the sides of the roads,
Sure.
because it's got that attachment. that
Well,
you can
Well, I thought it was really useful if we did 270th and we did the.
Shoulders.
But we decided not to do that.
Right.
So I think it was a $77,000 job, but I thought we could have probably saved enough to pay for it. And
Mm.
That's where the discussion came from, but then I remember right, Mr. Lincoln said, well, he's got some roads, he thought maybe we could use it too and widen them out. I'm glad they're doing a little research, checking it out.
I'm not opposed to getting one. I mean, but I think we don't need that.
What's that?
We got 8:30.
Oh, yeah, he's always on time. Were you able to get finished, or you?
No.
Is
I
it,
have more, but
is-
that's okay. I'll
can
wait.
we ask you to come back?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Okay, we have an 8:30 with Mr. Rodbeck. He's here. Sorry, I'm 2 minutes behind schedule. How are you this morning?
I'm wanting to see what building. Where you guys have decided the building. And where it's at, the new building. Have you guys decided if we're gonna go forth with one or not?
The way we left it was Dawn was gonna take it back and go through the bids and see if they met, and then bring it back for discussion.
Okay, we met with the guy the other day.
Uh-huh.
So the 4x40x8. That's not even supposed to be on there, so they're gonna make the 10x50, they're gonna make that 8 inches instead of 6 inches. Is they're gonna make that thicker on the concrete, and then they're gonna look at, we was talking about heating and cooling on like a separate one versus a single for each one, and they're gonna try to work that on at the same price.
You can help me out on that. We were talking about mini splits.
Yeah, we're not gonna do
You know,
that.
do mini
No,
splits you wanna do.
because we're worried about somebody hitting one in front of it, about a scale, something like that.
Makes sense. Okay.
And pushing stuff. So they think they can work it all in where they can get it at the same cost.
Just a standard
Yeah.
heating and air conditioning system. Yeah.
So, and then the 10%, I think they were talking about the 10% overage. So what they'll do is, keep all the receipts and stuff. And then I guess all of them always bid were, it's a 10% overage, but then if it comes under that, they'll reimburse you for the 10% overage at that.
Okay.
But that's what I was. Looking at, whether it's worth with it or not.
I look to my right, I look to my left.
Always been in the same position that I was at the time.
Okay, so let us continue to work out there with water in the office, lights falling on, so we'll just let the building fall in.
I think that's. My opinion, when people are worried about the taxes and when the landfill is not, almost not making profit, we need to wait, make sure that they're making profit so they can pay for their share of it.
So do you think people live their normal life in their houses with water falling in on them and the mice in their house without upgrading stuff like that then?
Sure, you can control the mice for that. They will be.
So the extra money I have, then what are we gonna do with that?
Did you and Dawn work out? I asked him a question on I think by the square footage, most of it's noxious weed. Is that right? But by the, whatever the other metric would be, by the personnel, yeah, it's mostly land. Did you guys kind of have,
It's, well,
An idea.
actually, it's gonna be mainly noxious weed because there's only that one office that I'll have Heather working in.
uh,
She'll sell the chemical when I'm not there out of that, and she can run the scale from inside that same office. So actually, it's noxious, it's gonna be a noxious weed though.
okay,
The 90% is gonna be noxious weed.
so then how, I guess my question is very similar to this, is, how it gets paid for, because we do need to make certain that the landfill and noxious weed, two separate entities working together, which I think is great. But we need to figure out if the landfill needs to pay its way, noxious weed doesn't need to overpay because, you guys have been very good with your money. All right, I'm just trying to figure out how to make it work. Where Bill and I disagree is I've been in your building and I don't see how you can go much longer than that thing because it's deteriorated past the point of, reasonable service, I guess you would say. I'm just concerned on how you're gonna funding for this thing, how it gets allocated. That's what my.
Well, I thought I had enough, pretty much enough funding to cover most of it. In my,
And you do. The
Okay.
concern is the landfill noxious weed. That's my concern, just the ratio, how it works, because landfill's gonna pay for some of it. I mean, and noxious weed's paying for some of it. I just want to know how we arrive at that figure. And if that's something we have to do, that's okay. But I'm fine with moving forward on it. I mean, I don't want to put the brakes on it because I think you need to build on it. I just want to know how we're funding this thing. We need to get all this clear as we move forward. Does that
Um,
make sense?
yeah, but another thing is the longer we hold off,
Certainly.
the costs are gonna keep.
I know.
And that's the thing. I mean, we're
Sure,
everybody in the county's short.
sure.
So that's the thing, the longer you hold off, it's just gonna keep increasing. That's the thing, we've had Peter something did.
I'm not telling you to hold off. What I'm saying is I want to know, I want to see on paper how we fund this thing. Who's putting what into the pot to pay for their share of the building. That's what I want. And again, if that's something we need to do, then we'll take the time to do it. But if you and Dawn, have sat down and done this, just show me what you got and then we'll roll.
Well, we did, but did you guys get the letter then? Well,
Okay.
I was gonna let Mr. Hyman read the letter out loud so the public knows what's going on.
Oh, okay.
I've got other questions too, so. Once you get it read out loud. that's up.
You want me to read this?
He wants it read out loud for the public watching. I think there's some miscommunication happened there, is what I think happened.
Oh, gosh. Well, let me read it to myself before I read it out loud. Well, there's a tone in that letter that I don't like. I don't think I'll read it out loud if I don't have to, because I think we need to discuss it with him personally. And it seems to me that is miscommunication, but the beauty of texts and emails is that they're permanent. And so I think we can resolve this thing if the other party wants to, I guess.
Yeah, there's a good thing going out there, out there.
Yeah, that's what, I don't understand this, Rich.
That's, you know, and that's the reason why I've got a lot of concerns now, because going forward, if he's not gonna be there,
Well,
I mean, I got stuff I need to discuss. I don't know if I should discuss it on the.
yeah, that's what I don't know either. Where's my man there? This is new waters for me. What do you guys think? Can we just put this on hold? I mean, we read it. Do we have to do anything here? Can we talk about it? Yeah, I guess,
I've got a lot of concerns.
well, yeah, me too.
Starting today.
Huh?
Starting today. What's gonna happen?
I don't know what that means. Sorry, Dave. With this?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay. Well. I guess it's just something here. I don't have to.
I think we need to address it before I leave today. 'Cause, I mean,
Oh, gosh. Okay, uncharted waters. I'm uncomfortable reading this. In fact, I'm not gonna do it. I just soon table it, but I don't think we have to even do that. Without anybody present here to discuss it. We're just gonna move on. If you want to talk about landfill stuff, we certainly can, or noxious weed stuff, we certainly can. But I don't know what we can do without the main party present.
well, I guess I've got a question for. I guess starting, I got a question for Barb and Nikki. So I'm gonna ask, are you guys doing the accounting for the landfill? If so, is the county paying for the services, or does the landfill get reimbursed by the county?
For the state statute. You have a plan to follow. You can have a contractor, or you can have your own entity, and that's what Brown County does. So those, it is a Brown County entity, and it falls under on federal. So, we. Is it
I guess I don't know if I should ask. Okay, so. If the county's allowed, like if landfill's using county tax exempt when purchasing the items, is that fall under tax fraud then?
It is not.
It's, okay,
They follow Brown County. So, the Brown. Fall under.
I don't know how else to answer the other questions then, because. So the landfill is its own entity, right?
My understanding by resolution, the landfill is expected. I mean, and if I'm wrong here, let me know. I thought it's supposed to pull its own weight. That's, go ahead.
So I use the spray truck, which is a taxpayer funded spray truck, push snow out there for the landfill, which is its own entity. So how am I allowed to do that then? I've got taxpayer money, equipment out there at the landfill,
Mhm.
and it's not tax funded.
Okay.
It's their own entity.
Right.
So how's that legal? I mean,
So
explain that to me.
if the landfill is supposed to carry its own weight, and I will, because I imagine I'm the commissioner that's providing the resistance. My resistance is if the landfill is supposed to pull its own weight, but we continue to use you, or we continue to use road and bridge, or we continue to use whatever, and we don't account for that, that's not pulling its own weight. And it's not a condemnation. It's just the idea that the landfill is not taking in enough money. If we've got to have a bunch of free or reduced cost labor to fill in the gaps, then maybe we're just not charging enough as a landfill. We need to ask ourselves that. And I know maybe it's frustrating, but if you on your own farm, if you're not paying your own way, I mean, and you keep going to the well, whoever that is, to fill in the gaps, then your farm's not profitable. You need to make some changes. That's what I'm after. It's just accounting stuff. And it's just the business side of it.
I think that's what happened there.
What's that?
Well, I do believe that you look at other counties that are landfill, some of them were landfill ends with the road and bridge. And I know that road and bridge has helped the land, noxious weed guys are not working all year round spraying. I mean,
Sure.
notoriously, it always helps, but wherever landfill are at, they tied the two together.
Well, see, that's where I'm lost at, okay? When I took this job, you guys separated out my position and the landfill, okay? So I'm strictly noxious weed, okay? So I got my own money coming, whatever. So during the fall, which I mean, I'm out there helping, you know, last winter I did. I'm out there using my own wages to do the landfill, which is its own entity, which we don't, you know, they're not drawing any taxpayer money from it. So I guess that's where I'm lost at is, how is that any different than us using road and bridge to haul dirt and stuff for the landfill?
Well, it isn't really different. I mean, in my mind, it's not. I think the partnership is great.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
teamwork.
We're getting lost in the details here. The partnership I like, and it only makes sense for the road and bridge to do it when they have time with equipment that the county already owns. Where I get lost is when the road and bridge, which is a taxable entity, they levy funds for road and bridge, all right? When they take that money and come over there and work for the landfill, which to my knowledge, and again, if I'm wrong, slap me down. They don't levy funds for anything. I mean, there has to be some sort of accounting. If the landfill is a standalone entity that's not taxable or doesn't, you know, raise taxes, but it's using entities that are funded by taxpayers, then the line gets a little fuzzy. And I'm not sure how you work it, but I think the landfill, if they're not pulling enough money in, then we need to make the adjustments to account for the county funds being used for trucks, fuel, labor, so on and so forth. But again, if I'm wrong, I don't want to be a stick in the mud here and be extraordinarily difficult. I'm just trying to make this thing work in a way that, you know, is all above board and legit. Not saying that anything's dishonest or illegal. I just think there's some things that there's some hidden costs in there to operate in this landfill that we're not accounting for that we need to.
When me and
It's
Don,
been that way.
yeah,
I've been here, I mean, the road and bridge always went out and helped them. Otherwise, they have to have a contractor.
yes.
Sure, and we don't want it. I mean, we want to do that. The partnership is wonderful. But again, how do you explain away the money side of it?
Well, that's where this is, it's got me kind of up in the air, because I'm like, if he don't come back,
Sure.
I think you're gonna have anybody working out there, because the guy they got working out there, who's a really good worker, he's not gonna stay out there because he ain't got nobody relieving, he ain't got no help. Because I'm down there at the C&D, he has nobody up there on the floor, you know, he's working, he's doing his 5 days a week plus his Saturdays. Now with him not being there, he's not gonna stay out there, there's no way. I mean, you guys won't have nobody run that place.
Well,
That's the thing, I mean, that's the problem we got right now. I'm like,
We haven't even got our raises in the, put in place yet to see how they do, what they brought in, that didn't come in until the first of the year. But we haven't had the, you know, given a chance to even see what it's gonna do.
to try and throttle the flow of trash that's coming in there. You know,
we're overwhelmed.
you are, absolutely. That's,
Got way more than we've ever had.
Even since the 1st of April, that C&D down there, you wouldn't believe the pile that's already coming there. And you know, I'm gonna start spraying, I ain't have time to be down there. If I'm not down there to babysit that, so they're supposed to inspect the loads, if I'm not down there to babysit that.
Mhm.
You know, you got people hiding trash in the middle of it.
sure.
So you got people that pay for C&D prices. That are,
That are
it's clean,
clean.
but then you got people that bring stuff in that's got trash in it, and if they're supposed to charge trash price. They're not getting charged because there's nobody down there watching it. There ain't somebody down there watching it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not being fair to everybody. I mean, consistency, there's no consistency at all. And I believe that everybody should be treated equal, you know. If I'm not down there to watch and you got somebody that dumps trash down here and they only pay C&D, and then when I'm down there, somebody that dumps trash, guess what? They get charged for trash price.
Right.
To me, that's not fair to the person that's,
No, it's game in the system. You're right.
yeah,
You're right.
and if you got somebody babysitting it.
So the landfill's been experiencing an extremely high level of volume. And, you know, we've talked to the landfill quite a bit. In fact, when the last time he was here, we joked about that because we see him all the time. And I know there's a lot of pressure there. we've tried with that $25 fee for the unsecured load. I'm working on that, trying, because you guys are getting phone calls and griped at because of the trash.
I'll give you another example there. You got, if I'm not sitting in there, babysitting. And telling them to charge it. They'll do it, but if I'm not there. They're not doing it, and it's not, that's the thing, I mean. You just, it's
Well,
no consistency, it's not fair to the people that have to pay it, that should have probably paid it.
sure. No, I saw a load of boxes yesterday come to the landfill guy and all strapped down and it looked like a good load of
Yeah.
junkie man.
We're gonna, it's nothing like
So I saw a load of trash go. Out of the country go by yesterday or sometime. It was, had a tarp on it, but still trash. Well,
So the board here, I mean, I'm fairly certain I can speak for them. We want to work with the landfill noxious weed. You know, we're in favor of doing anything we can to make it better out there. I don't work there day to day. My questions were informational. I'm not trying to lead anybody anywhere. But still, when you mix taxpayer funds with something that's supposed to stand on, and maybe we need to change that. I'm not sure.
That's what I'm wondering, because I mean, we take pride in what we've done, we cleaned it up. And I mean, we've got so many comments and stuff on how clean it is, but. The guy you had out there running was a great asset, good worker, I mean. If he don't come back.
Yeah.
I mean, they're in trouble, they're in big trouble.
Well,
We'll be pulled down and.
yeah, we could be. I mean, the thing is, if a person wants to leave, we can't stop. But it's just a miscommunication because no one ever intended that. And if I'd have thought asking a few questions would get somebody that level of fired up, I guess so be it. And we'll persevere, we'll get through it, but things take time, but we want to work with you guys. And I thought we've been fairly open about that. The building, if we ask questions on how it's funded, I mean, don't take that personal, like we don't like you, or we don't want you in a good office. We're just asking questions. How are we going to fund it? I just want to know. It's a $200,000 project, give or take. It's not chump change.
Yeah,
And I want to work. I mean, gosh, we took the tour out there. We've spent the time. I've made phone calls. I'm just trying to do our due diligence here and work with folks. But again, I don't want to butt heads with anybody, but this ain't the way to solve the problem. It's a way to make it go away, but you're not solving anything. And we want to work with you out there to get it solved, to make it better. And if the prices haven't taken effect, maybe the volume of trash goes down 30% there because it's more in line with other landfills. I don't know.
we ain't got no place to go, but. Target is the next closest.
And so then the business side of me says, maybe we need to raise prices a little more
I
because
still think the C&D is still too cheap. I talked to the Ashland County guy, he said we're still too cheap on it.
and the thing with this is we can always change. If we're too cheap, Richie, we need to make some adjustments, but we
Well-
can't do it here without our man. And we want to work with him. I mean, I just want to be as public with that as possible.
I mean, I would like for him to continue to stay out there because if he don't come back. I don't want no part of the C&D
Sure.
because, I mean, it takes two people to make it work. And I just don't want no part of it because like I said, I put a lot of time in out there. I spent a lot of time cleaning it up and. They need him out there.
Barb, is it possible to get the landfill? I mean, do they have a business structure, like resolution or articles of incorporation, whatever they have, kind of how it's structured, so we can read over that and just figure it out? Okay, okay. Yeah. Sure. Okay, I'd appreciate that. And again, if my questions are out of line, there's no animosity intended. It's just trying to get some things figured out. And just because we've always done it that way, doesn't mean we should just keep doing it that way. And if we want to work with them. I'm just going to push this letter to the side and no harm, no foul. I'd really like to talk.
I think, well, that's when I talked to him, I said, I think that you must have misinterpreted what he said or something. You took it wrong. He took you wrong because it just all,
Yeah, I mean, I still got it. I don't know.
It all come ahead, but, I mean, to me, the smartest move you guys did was putting it out there.
I
Because the
am,
guy's not scared to work. I mean, and he's done an awesome
He's
job.
very creative and he's got some good ideas and stuff, and we really thought we gave him free to operate. I mean, I've been speaking here. You got anything you want to say?
I just know that, it's not gonna work out there. I mean, I look back over the years, we've always, every year, it seems like for the last, I don't know, we've amended the budget out there many times. The problem is, cash is finally gone. We don't have the cash to do it. That's what got the landfill where we're at.
Right.
We can't amend them.
And I've been here for 10 years and it's never been that. And the only change, real change, is we have to start paying for all of it. Even though.
Yeah, that's another thing, so. Anybody could have made that place run like it did if you took all the trash down there and just dumped it because you wasn't moving it out. But by the state, whatever permits and stuff, that stuff wasn't even supposed to be down there. So I mean, you can make it look good, but then when you change and do it by the way it's supposed to be done. That's what happened, you gotta haul it out. Well, you can't take the stuff we've taken down there, it all got set back up.
That hauling was gonna be changed anyhow, because they figured out they missed that over the
Right.
years.
Yeah.
So they were gonna start charging us, so it was gonna happen no matter what.
The landfill was collecting $60 a ton for waste. And we're paying $55 a ton to get rid of it. So they were working on $5. And it just didn't work. And that's why we adjusted the rates. We adjusted. But the new rates haven't taken effect. Okay. The new rates haven't taken effect. I think we just need time. And I guess, are you our liaison now in this situation? Are you still?
I don't know. I mean, I just come in here to find out what the building was gonna be, but, like I said, me and Don, when we stepped up, took over, we're saving the landfill $14 an hour. Plus employee benefits because we never had to replace a person that left. And I mean,
Yeah.
that's done saved them quite a bit of money there, but I mean,
No one's questioning
we need to,
the job.
I mean, we need to try to keep him.
No one's questioning the job you're doing.
Yeah.
No one's questioning and no one questions that the job has quite a bit of pressure. We just have questions on how we fund it. And it's not a personal thing. It's just, if we need to move some things around, we will. But
Yeah, I mean, I understand it's a business, you need to make more money. And like I said, I think C&D needs to be increased is what I think, because the track loader and the fuel and stuff, they're not even, I think even putting that in consideration, because right now that track loader, in one of them tracks, it's popping on me.
there you go. And
And
that's,
I mean, it's gonna be a lot to fix that thing if something major goes wrong with it.
put an undercarriage on it, it takes a lot of money.
Yeah,
So,
and I mean, but it's been working on what's been working a long time.
tell you what, I will, because I hate putting people in the middle. I'll just, when our meeting's over, I'll make a phone call. I got his number, hopefully, and we can talk about it, see, get the lay of the land. But I guess if he's bound and determined, then we need to know sooner rather than later, because we got to get moving on this.
I think that, they probably just need to discuss.
Yeah.
What happened, I mean.
I appreciate you coming, though.
Crossed in there, is what I think.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't wanna see the other worker you got out there leave because of him gone.
And
Because you got a hard time filling that.
Well, you're right.
And I guess another thing is, so we're open 5 days a week plus every other Saturdays.
Mhm.
Well, you gotta realize them guys gotta work all but 3 holidays. And that costs the landfill extra money to leave them open this day too. Because they gotta pay time to have,
Oh,
instead of being closed
sure.
all the county holidays like everybody else.
landfill, I mean, see,
Yeah.
that's it.
So, I mean, there's savings there if you look at that, but
That's Mondays, unfortunately, when most of our holidays is, people are fucking driving over the weekend, they're gonna stop.
Yeah.
we could close down like on a Wednesday, I mean, middle of the week or something. There is some days you are slow. So give people time off, like I said.
Well, that's all part of the stuff that we really honestly, we don't deal with the day to day. We don't know that, the nuance of really working up there, but we want to work with you. The building, I mean, I'm glad you did the work, but we're obviously not gonna do anything now. We can't, I mean, with this up in the air, so, I mean, I can't give you a hard and fast decision on that. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Well,
I know you don't want to hear it, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
So do I need to look at maybe bringing like something on schedule, building on schedule or
No,
something?
not at all. What I'm saying is I want a few days for the dust to settle here. We need to get this ironed out.
Yeah.
Before we jump into that. That's what I'm saying. Cause shoot, I mean, they're all related. So,
Yeah, you might send him a text and see.
oh, I will. I'll call him immediately when the meeting's over and see what's up. I know we'll get through. We'll be fine. We'll get through. Is there anything else? I appreciate you coming in. I know it wasn't easy. It was-
Just my concern on what's going on out there.
And as far as, like I said, that building, I mean, I understand. I've been there. I see the holes, I see the water. I know all that stuff. That building's to the end of its serviceable life. I think we need to do something there. Glad you guys are, you know, doing all the detail work there in that bid because things get lost in the shuffle. And we want to make sure it's done exactly the way we want it done before we say yes. That will make sense. All right, are we good?
Yep.
Thank you very much. All right, we still got our time?
Yeah, we pull it.
Okay, well, I appreciate everybody walking through that. We'll get back on the agenda, the minutes, item number 1 from April 21st.
So. Yeah, I don't have anything, but
Are we on the minutes or are you on something else?
no, the minutes, I don't have any. So in the last minutes. When the fire chiefs came in. And I didn't catch this, I should catch it because we approved it a couple of times. Nobody said anything about it. I talked to Nikki about it a little bit, but. There was a Ryan that was here. What was his last name?
Stockholm.
Okay, so the minutes say it's Ryan Lander. Does that need to be changed? That was like on the 17th or back. It's been a while back.
There's already approved them and signed them.
Yeah, and we already, and a hard copy already came through.
So how did you do that last time? Did that happen last time?
They did with the 2 and a 3.
Yeah. Just make a motion to. Amend it or something. So, yeah, I mean,
Check into it. I don't know if it's that. I mean, I understand that.
Yeah, it's-
I don't even know if there's a Ryan Lantern for sure, is there?
well, I think he had a. Lights and sirens deal that same day that we approved.
she's got- Okay, okay.
He's from Fairview and. I don't know, I don't know Ryan Lander.
Okay, okay. Well, thanks for bringing that to our attention.
We'll check
We'll go
that out.
back through and look. Okay, so on the April 21st minutes, is there any additions or corrections or comments before we approve them?
I move we approve the 4/21/2025 minutes.
Okay. Is there a second?
I didn't catch anything wrong with him, so I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Next is number 2 is the accounts payable for the 30th. of April here. Any questions or comments or discussion on these?
Make a comment, appreciate the clerk's office catching that one issue that they. Check if they didn't cash.
Election.
They're not, I mean, I put it in.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. And number 3 here, payroll. Is there any discussion on that?
Sorry, 4/30/2025 payroll.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 That's. Motion carried. Number 4 is a. Buried cable permit. With JBN telephone.
Oh, your district bill, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Don't have any problem with the loan. We're mark, they know where it is and are marking it, so we know where to locate, right to dig on.
Sure.
Is this the same project they were talking about earlier? Or is this a different company? Well, they were talking about, the tribe was talking about a fiber optic project. This is something different? Or the same thing, or you know? Because this, well, that wasn't all on the reservation either, but this, a lot of this isn't, it's on west of the reservation, so. It must be something different because we approved that for that project.
Right.
That must be additional.
This is JBL telephone company that's putting in.
These are pretty standard stuff. I mean. You said, you made a mention as long as it's able to be located.
Yep, probably, where it's marked, or it's going across, or roads, or ditches, so.
Okay. What we see here is a lot of technical diagrams of where lengths and depths and so on and so forth, and placements. So as long as they adhere to this, which I would
It
assume
doesn't
they
look like
do.
they're digging, it's gonna be a static.
Yeah, it's
Very table. Identical.
all right. Is there a second?
So,
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion carried. We already did a property use agreement. We got a number 6 here is District 3, 2 quotes.
That was actually the pivot.
right,
Yeah, so this is different.
but is it kind of overlap a little bit or not?
Yeah.
Or we got two different companies working on it? Evidently.
Whoever gets. the
All
bids.
we know is what she about right there.
And we approved it while you were gone, so we approved it while you stepped out. So we're rolling on. Now we're on the tubes for District 3.
These are just tubes that Doug needs to have someone behind. And I really think that we should speak with the foreman about using these polypropylene tubes because they go together. It's called bell and spigot. And you don't need bands with them. They go together and according to NEK, they don't, NEK drainage. They don't come apart. And they last, they don't erode like the metal tubes do when the water sits in them.
Mhm.
So, but Doug just he wanted to have some of these, so he had called Wellborn and asked about them, and then I called some other places to try to get estimates. And the other two companies, which is Meadow Culverts and J&J Drainage, they have polyethylene tubes, but not the polypropylene. And I did get the polyethylene is even cheaper than the polypropylene. One is more rigid than the other.
Which is the more rigid,
Pardon?
which is the more rigid, that polypropylene or that?
Polyethylene, I believe, is the more rigid.
Which one stands up for sunlight better? I mean, that's my only concern, that plastic,
But they're buried.
not on the end, so.
I'm familiar in the ag, we use A2000 and N12. I don't know what polyethylene and polypropylene is, but pipes either white or black. So when you get into gray, it's uncharted territory for me. Must be better for an entryway. Maybe it's a little thicker wall. Nobody knows, I guess. It's all right.
NEK would.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and when you say NEK, do you mean,
Luke
yeah, they're in Robinson.
and Ronnie Whistler is the one I
Okay.
was speaking with.
Okay, all right. So this is and someone, you talked to him Well, they actually got. Are we looking at the same thing here from Wellborn Sales and UK?
Yes,
Same pipe?
yes,
Okay.
those are both the polypropylene.
Okay. And you talked to a guy named Ronnie,
Mhm.
and Ronnie. And he recommended polypropylene over poly.
Yes,
Yeah, I know plastic pipe has gotten really high, like everything is. But this would just be for stock. He doesn't really have a plan for him, but the next two puts in, he's gonna try running this. See.
yes.
There were some feedlots that kind of drained into that. It was one of them, I think it was one of the reasons that they thought that would last better, close to a feedlot.
Okay.
Didn't
Oh,
have so
yeah.
much grocery stuff going through it.
Just for fun, I mean, do we know what a galvanized tube, an 18 by 20 galvanized costs approximately? Is it?
We will on the fifth. As we open our two bids. I don't mean to be smart.
No, you're fine. That makes sense. Well, then, is it all right to? Does he want us to do this today?
No, it does not have to be. I've been sitting on it for,
Could we sit on it another week then?
Sure.
So we'll know.
I would like to think two forms about these.
Sure.
One district uses it, not, for example, always, we run out, we're only able to bring it, it's like from the other district, we need two different types of product. I mean, curious, make sure that both, all of them.
Yeah.
Both.
That makes sense.
well, and Doug is still ordering the metal tubes also. I mean, he's not phasing them out at all. He just said. He wanted,
I think there are places where the plastic would probably last better.
Yeah, let's do a cost comparison next week. That'll give you a chance to make a phone call or two. And I might make one too, just because I'm curious what that actually is. Difference between gray and black. And then we can talk about it next week.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Wonderful. Have anything else?
no, I think that's all.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing. Thanks for taking over on that, data collection. What do they call it again? A name.
Armadillo.
Armadillo. I was trying to think of the animal. I couldn't
I
think of it.
printed that for you.
Armadillo. I look forward to. You know, if you learn something, Tammy, off of that you think we'd like to hear about, let us know. We might find something that you didn't expect.
Right.
Be interesting.
I think it will be, and I was impressed with the reports that it puts out.
Okay.
I mean, just for the few
Yeah.
vehicles that we.
Yeah, no, it should be great. And it differentiated in size, small, medium, large.
Right.
It should be wonderful. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And then just don't forget to.
We'll sign. Thank you. All right. We have a lot of questions today. It's all right. Okay, now I had one other piece of information. I did make some phone calls last week. You talked about the gate break resolutions. We didn't remember. I didn't know why we couldn't do it. We can't do it because according to KDOT at the local office and in Topeka, we can't put signs online. So we can have an ordinance, we can't post it, so. That's it. The cities can do it because within their city limits, they have what they call. So that was the answer to that.
Like on the city's had one move, the county's had one move, so.
Where?
That's what I'm not.
State highway.
State highway. Yeah, anyway, I did make the phone call.
I'm not arguing.
They both gave me the same answer, so, and I called the people who had asked me about doing it and let them know, and they don't seem to be fine, so there's just not much we can do. So that's that, and then, I wondered, we've got the May 30th meeting, I believe, on the schedule to be in the Brown County Sheriff's basement, is that correct? Okay. It should. Okay, that's wonderful. And my question was just how, we could get it advertised and just put it on the site. But that's just, we'll talk about that on the, all right. Bill, do you have anything? Mr. Lindsey? No. No, okay. Anything else to come before the Board of Commissioners here then? Thought you were gonna speak. Okay, well, I guess. We good?
Yeah.
All right, motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second?
yeah,
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I'm
Bill made the motion to adjourn, Rich seconded, and I said aye, and Rich said aye, and said aye. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.